YouTube, and TikTok. So I'm not trying to look away from anybody. So if it appears that way, I'm trying to give equal attention. Anyway, this evening, I've had a day. Oh boy. Anyway, that's another story. But this evening, why freedom? It still feels out of reach, even when you work really hard. You know, honestly, have you ever felt like I'm trying to be equal time looking at both screens? It's not easy, but have you ever felt like you're doing everything right and your life feels like one, you know, the one big mess, like you're on a giant, huge treadmill? Anyone? You show up, you grind, you give and you give, but nothing seems to honestly give back. A system designed to keep you tired, sadly to say, but that's reality now. You know, I'm sorry if I missed somebody to say hi, but thank you for joining. Stay with me this evening. I have quite a few things to bring up that I think make sense and are quite important. But anyway, you know, let's go back, not to Henry Ford like I did the other night, but to the 60s through the 80s. For those that were alive, I know I was. Hi, Bernie. Thank you for joining. You know, families lived literally on one income. I remember growing up as a teeny bopper, and my parents survived basically on one income, the two of them. So my mom got to have fun and play. And I was a teenager. I don't know if she had fun, but anyway, but most jobs included pensions. People retired in their 60s. That's true too. Let's fast forward it now to today, our era now going on. Hi, Christine. Dual income just barely covers rent. you know, 401ks are unstable, and seniors are working at Targets and DoorDash literally just to survive. That's frightening. Hi, John. But we didn't fall behind. Seriously, the world moved faster than the systems could evolve because we're not in it, but we're living in the industrial age, as I mentioned last night with Henry Ford when he set up that system. Hi, Tyrone and Gary. When he set up that system, that was designed for factory workers 100 years ago. Hello, knock knock. That and it was all designed for profit and control. That's even worse. But anyway, that was the topic I went through yesterday. But you know, seniors are re-entering the workforce with aching knees. Parents missing milestones for Zoom calls and work-related matters. Hi, Grammy. Uh, just got the number one. Oh, thank you, Grammy. But I mean, what I'm saying, is that resonating with anybody? Please raise your hand because it certainly is resonating with me. These are not my facts, by the way. I do a lot of research before I come on live, and that's why I run a few minutes late because today I had, oh my gosh, I won't even go into that right now. Anyway, let me get back on track here. But uh, entrepreneurs are making six figures and still can't breathe. That's reality too. I've mentioned this a few times. Hi user and Marvin and user again. But over 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's sad. 63% of, got to move back a little bit so my head's not on top of the laptop, iPad. 63% of retirees say they'll run out of money before they die. I mean, that's that just breaks my heart to hear these facts and numbers that burnout is at an all-time high, even for self-employed people. That's what's going on. We're told, work harder. hustle more, post more, sell more. Anybody hear that at work ever? Hi, Vince. I bet. You know what hurts the most, is it's not the years you're spent working. It's looking back over that time, realizing you missed so many moments with your loved ones, your family. That, ugh, you blinked and your kids were grown. That's how I look at my children. All of a sudden, they're little toddlers, and boom, they're big kids, and now they're parents themselves. You missed sunsets. You missed rest. How about that one? It's funny when we're kids. I don't want to take a nap. When you get to be older, oh, I wish I could have taken a nap, right? But and no paycheck ever brought those memories back. Never, ever, ever, ever. Hi, J. Lou and User and Mr. Lion. Uh-oh, roar. but but what we really miss, well, I should say, what we really need is a new model because we're following something 100 years ago. Honestly, that's insane. I never looked at it from that angle until I started doing my own research because I do strategically plan what I want to talk about each night. So it's not boring. I hope it's not boring. Um, I pot cake. Just thank you, by the way. But I was tired. I did not want to spend the rest of my life working just to survive. Hello? Mm-mm. Someone in our community, the community that I work within, the business I do, told me he was making six figures and still couldn't breathe. And I can relate to that because I was up the ladder with that too. And I was 16 to 18-hour days. That's not the Henry Ford 40 plus hours. That's more like 80 hours a week. That stuck with me when he said that because we were never taught that success without time freedom is just a shiny cage. True? If hard work alone, listen, mamas, if hard work alone created wealth, every single mom out there I know would be a multimillionaire, right? I know that. I worked my rear end off and I loved what I did, but it's not about hard work. It really isn't. We were taught to be grateful for our jobs, even the ones that broke us. Anybody? Let me know. Anybody relate to what I'm saying? Hi, Jennifer and the Queen Bee. I like that title. But we were taught to sacrifice sleep, joy, and time with family, loved ones, all for a check that disappears by Friday. Anybody with me on that one? Think, right? I stand in Figgy. But I'm telling you, there's another way. There really is. And I want you to at least know it exists. I met people making $200,000 a year. Sounds like a comfy, what do you call it, salary, right? Well, I guess it all depends on your living costs and expenses. But anyway, uh, but that person was making that a year who where he was more trapped than people making 20,000 a year. That's really also very sad. They have the income, but no life, no peace, and no days off. It's constant. Your If your success costs you your sanity, is it really success? Is it? Hi, Barbie doll. You know, you are more in life than a worker. You're a whole human. And you weren't put here just to pay the bills and die. Your purpose matters. Your time matters. If no one has told you lately, you are not behind. Hi, Zach. You're not behind. and you're not too late. You are not the problem. The model is broken, and that is honestly the problem. Big time. Hi, Wild Man Mark and Karen Herman. Thank you all for joining. I found something that does actually work, and I'm not doing a sale pitch. I just want to make sure people know. Hey, thank you, Glazak. Thank you for coming back. But I just want you to know that what I, some of what I do. But I found something.